Tomorrow night, you go into the match. First little sticky spell that you've had with MK Dons. There's no panic, obviously, but you just would like to get that first goal and that first win.
Yeah, of course. I think yeah, I spoke about it briefly after the game Saturday. Everybody got so used to obviously winning last season that especially some of the other lads, we keep saying about it. Forget last season. This get it out your heads. It's a new group. It's a new season. So we have to make sure that we just spoke to the lads this afternoon about it. We none of us like the feeling or intentionally go out and perform like we did on Saturday, but we have to really quickly suck out the experience from it and what we can learn from it, and then go and put it right tomorrow. And that's ultimately the challenge. Can we get back to playing like us and playing to the level we're capable of, in order to go and win the game?
It was always going to be a transitional little period. It hasn't been helped with a few players being injured that would really be very close or in that team that you normally pick.
Yeah, a combination. I think it's a really tough start when you look at Cambridge away on their pitch with a consistent team that hasn't changed at all, and you play two of the biggest sides in the division with the biggest budgets that you'd expect to finish top four. Um, and then we're obviously at a different stage. We're in the early stages of a new group forming, and players getting up to speed with how we want to play. But like I said to the players, there's no excuses. I don't want to make any excuses for the outcome of games or the performance in games, and that's probably the biggest disappointment. We finished Sheffield Wednesday with a completely different feeling to Ipswich, even though we lost both games. And I think the biggest thing when you look at Sheffield Wednesday was we performed to a good level. We created chances, we minimised their chances, we showed some good moments of quality, especially back in mid-third, whereas Ipswich was as good as they are. A lot of it was on us being poor, which and that's what's good about the group already and the staff, that we reflect on it and we're honest. We're not going to hide from anything. It's being really honest and having difficult reflections and looking at our own performances to go, right, how do we make sure that doesn't happen again, or how do we learn from it? How do we become better from a tough, frustrating, difficult afternoon Saturday?
Even when you've been beaten before, and last season too, your possession stats were always very high, but they're obviously very low on Saturday, which is unheard of, really.
Yeah, thanks for reminding me. Do you know what? It's very similar, actually. I think it's talking to a few of the players today. It's actually very similar, I felt, to the Rotherham game last season, where same scoreline, I think, in fact, where you come away from the game going that's not the level we're capable of, and that was the feeling on Saturday. I think that was probably the biggest reason for the emotion after the game, was we didn't do us, we weren't at our level. Which if you lose a game but you perform to a good level, I think you're okay with it. So. Or as okay as possible. But we didn't do that Saturday, and I think that's the biggest thing. But we used last season, the Rotherham one's another example. I think that we'll be using this experience to make sure that we do everything in our power to make sure it doesn't happen again.
You're obviously missing Harvey and Watson, but you reverted back to a back three at half time. Is that something you might have to do from the start tomorrow?
We're missing quite a few. I think that's the other one taken into note. And again, it's no excuses, but we've had a real tough, unfortunate run of injuries where you've got some key people missing. But I think what we made a decision in the game. I thought whether they were hurting us and where they were causing us problems in terms of wide areas, and I thought it was the reason for the change at half time, just to basically deny them space. So we're having a look at what we'll go with tomorrow night. And getting through the day to see who's available and how everybody's feeling. Then we'll finalise it.
Harvey and Issa have been on the training ground. I know it's very early days, but how long do you think it might be for those two?
Dan's a lot closer than Mo, so Dan's joined in bits and pieces of training, so he's not a million miles away if he continues at the rate he is. And Mo's first day back out on the grass today in terms of just a jog, so he's still quite a way off, Mo. And again, that's obviously such a difficult injury to overcome that he needs a bit of time with that. So Mo's quite a way off still.
Port Vale promoted last season, and two important games now coming up this week with Accrington at Stadium MK on Saturday as well.
Yeah, I think everyone's a real tough one in this division when you look at it, and Darrow's done a really good job there when you look at the promotion, but then also how they've started so far this season. They'll be difficult to play against. I think they have a real clear identity in how they play. Extremely well organised, well coached. So again, it's another tough game, but I think the biggest thing, it shifts back onto us, and like I said, doing us and achieving our level, and that's individually and collectively, playing to the best level that you can. So that'll be the thing I'll be looking for tomorrow night is how do we respond to the weekend, but do we hit the level we're capable of?
I suppose this is where you need the supporters to really get behind you.
Yeah, of course. I think it's massive. Again, I think in terms of the understanding and the patience, I think is a real key one. I think what we have to make sure that we do is as a group is give them something to support and something to get behind. But at the same point, the patience element will be required over a period of time. It doesn't just change and happen overnight. So it's about sticking together. Players, staff, fans, everyone sticking together to pull through and to get in the direction that we want to go. So yeah, their support will be huge.
Cool. Thanks, Liam.
Cheers.
Psychologically for Mo, getting back out on the grass after such a long time off it, that must be huge for him.
Yeah, I have to say, Mo's a terrific character. He's brilliant. I have to say, he stayed fairly upbeat throughout the whole duration that he's been out so far, which is credit to him. He's working hard in the gym, so you can see he's added a bit of muscle mass. Still got more to come, but he's definitely added and looks slightly bigger. And then of course, being out on the grass where you feel you're closer to it. It's obviously the first steps of the next mountain, as our physio put it today. So he's also got to taper expectation and be patient to make sure he comes back and ticks off everything he needs to.
We just spoken to Louis Barry, and he certainly comes across as a very confident lad. And he feels like if he can get one goal, he'll get an absolute hatful this season. I mean, you must be pleased to have players with that level of confidence coming into your side.
Yeah, he's settled in well, Lou. He's he's in the early stages of adapting to how we play and life in League One. He obviously didn't play many games at Ipswich last year, so he had a half a season in League Two with Swindon. But it's also getting his head around what League One looks like, because it is slightly different, obviously. So he'll just need a little bit of time. We'll have to be a little bit patient, but at the same point, there's expectation for him as an individual, but also for us as a team. So it's not a case of waiting forever. So there is a bit of pressure on delivering, but knowing him, his character, and the support he's got from us, he'll definitely get there.
I suppose you could say that about pretty much your whole front line, can't you? The not really having much experience in League One.
Yeah, it's obviously something in terms of we've had keep coming back to a couple of injuries obviously in that area, and that if you look at where the consistency in the team, we've been able to maintain a level of consistency in the back line, and centrally is the top end that is where we've got a lot of the new additions. So it's obviously it's going to take a little bit of time, but with the qualities I think we've got there, we'll continue to improve.
Nice one, thank you.
How are the other injured players looking, the likes of Nathan Hall and Will Grigg?
Yeah, them two are close, to be fair. They're expecting them back fairly soon. So hopefully, they've still got a few more bits to do with the physio. So hopefully that they tick them off and that goes smoothly, and then then they're available. So hopefully have them back very soon.
You spoke last week about looking for another striker in the transfer window. Any progress made on that so far?
Still working hard on it. To be fair, it's I'm sure if you spoke to most managers, Championship and League One, I think it's such a difficult area to recruit from. I've been having some long conversations about it this week in terms of just the sheer volume of strikers available. There doesn't seem to be a huge amount out there, and I don't want to just take somebody for the sake of taking it. We've still got a little bit of time, and I prefer, with it being quite a period of time from when the window shuts to January, that we know we need somebody top end of the pitch, but it's about making sure we get the right one.
This week, back-to-back home games. That must be nice to be able to have a bit of time at Stadium MK and really try and cement that as a place that's more of a challenge to come to.
Yeah, definitely. The familiar surroundings, the fans, the pitch is a big one for us as well, that being able to control that. So I think it's good to be back, and the challenge for us is to make it a really difficult place to come, and that's what we'll be working hard to do tomorrow.